Hey Zed, what's up? How you doing, buddy? Don't know what I'm gonna make, but I'm gonna make something tonight, or try to. Still need to send you some pictures of some flower marbles too. Just doing a little bit of prep work while I'm waiting for people to show up. Don't have a clue how it's running. I'm out here in the shop, kind of away from the Wi-Fi, and it's raining outside too, so hopefully it works. And we got Angie and Rick in here, looks like. How y'all doing? I've just got my phone, so it's kind of small. If I miss you, I apologize. Good deal, Angie and Rick. Thank you. I think I'm going to start out with a. I think I'm going to start out with a little pendant. Kind of get my hands loosened up. I've been having some trouble with this finger, which is not a good thing with this because I sit here this whole. I have to roll this constantly, just like this, the whole time I'm working on it to keep stuff centered. And this finger is really, since I've started back up, is really giving me trouble. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to try and figure that out. But Shannon Dalton, hey buddy, how you doing? My Missouri neighbor. And I think starting out, I'm gonna make a kind of a green themed pendant. Got some dark green and some kind of neon green, chartreuse looking green, and then that one in the middle is green UV glass. So I'm going to put those three elements together here and make a little pendant. This should be a kind of a quick, hopefully, if everything goes right, kind of a quick make. So we'll see how it goes. All right. There's our dark green stripe. So we're going to start there. Then I'll probably do two stripes of this on either side. Of course, I'll have to leave room for my UV, so maybe I'll just do one of this and two of the UV. All right. Hopefully I'm not blocking too much. I know my hand gets in the way. I've been thinking about trying to do my head mount GoPro and go live so you guys can see kind of down in what I'm doing a little better. I don't know if it would work or not, but I've been thinking about that. So I'm going to add the UV now. Oop, and it broke on me, of course. So I'll just have to work a little closer to the flame. That's always fun. All right, here we go. Stripe number 2. So there's my dark green, kind of fluorescent green, and the UV glass. So I'm going to melt those in. You can see how they're kind of standing up off of the white. So I'm going to melt them, try to melt them down in a little bit. May not go all the way with them, but want to at least get them set in the glass better. So I'm actually going to gather this up a little bit. Well, maybe I need to terminate my end a little bit first. But I normally make these kind of a ball or a marble shape, then put the pendant loop on there. I probably need to twist this a little bit and twist this a little bit, and then I'll terminate the end a little bit better. It's not like you're dumping a plate of food on the floor. I don't know, every once in a while I drop something in the floor. It's never a good thing on this because it always gets dirty and then it ruins it. So, all right, I hooked me on a little handle here. I'm going to work on twisting this up a little bit. There's Frank. Hey, buddy. How's Frank doing? All right. So if I can do this without getting burned, there's one twist at the back. And I'm going to go in the middle and twist again. So now I've got 2 twists. I'm going to twist it out on the end close to my little handle there, my little punny rod. Then I'll terminate and clean the end off. Okay. So there is my wig wag twist on there. So I'll get the end cleaned up now. And then we're going to ball this up or gather it up a little bit. Okay. There's a little teeny tiny hair that we cleaned up. So we're down to this little sharp point that'll make our nice termination on the bottom end of the pendant whenever I'm done. All right. Probably have both my hands in the way. I don't know if I can turn you guys a little bit more. Stand by for the earthquake. I get it where, yeah, maybe you guys can see there a little bit. A little less of me, a little more of the glass. How about that? Thanks, Angie and Rick. Appreciate that. So I'm trying to keep that little point centered until I get it melted in. That's always the tricky part, to keep it from sagging. The more you can keep it centered, the better off you are. I mean, I could make a small marble out of this too. What's everybody's vote, marble or pendant? Something you can wear or hang on your mirror, or something you can hold in your hand and look at. So here's where we're at now. Point's gone. It is that hot glass. It can't see it very well, but see the line starting to come down there. So we'll keep going here. Shannon says marble. Lucky James Eller, hey buddy. Well, I can see if I can make a marble out of this. It won't be very big, probably, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of an inch, if I had to guess. What's everybody doing tonight? It's raining here. Been raining most of the day, so I've been kind of resting before work tomorrow. Since I'm going marble, I'm going to keep this in the flame till I get closer. Give me just a couple of minutes here and I'll have it mostly done on this one side, and I'll show you before I cut it off this main rod. At this point, I'm letting gravity and the heat do most of the rounding for me. I have a mold, but I don't like to use it any more than I have to. We're getting down there. Sorry if I'm missing comments. I'm kind of going to pay attention to this. Make sure I'm staying centered. Can you guys hear my neighbor's peacocks? They're kind of noisy. They get all kinds of birds and things over there. Just about got it here on one end anyway. Alright, let me get this thing cooled down a little bit, make sure he stays centered. And I'll give him a little closer look at it. Okay. Should be cool enough to stay centered now. I know that all looks red and stuff, but that's actually that dark green, kind of fluorescent green, and then the UV glass. So we're about ready to hook onto this thing on this front end and cut it off the main rod. So I got it just a little bit off center. Bear with me here. I got to have it pretty much perfectly centered before I cut it off the rod, or the other end will be crooked. All right, I mean, when this thing's done, it's going to be these two colors right here, well, in the UV. But it looks red because of the heat in the glass, so it's starting to show the colors there a little bit. All right, let's get hooked onto this thing. See if we can finish the other end. P-foul. Let's see. Can't wait to start having them all the time. Cool. Color change is amazing in the glass. Yeah, Shannon, it's kind of strange what the heat does to it. Okay. Alright, so I'm hooked on the other end. Let's see if we can get this thing cut loose around backside. Alright, cut loose. Got a little Hershey Kiss end on it down there. We'll clean some of that off because we don't need that. Take just a little bit more off of it. Okay, there's what we got left. We're going to slowly ease this back into the flame and melt that little sharp end in. I almost think I need to take just a little bit more off of here. Alright, let's melt it in now. I'm going to step away just a second, get to close this back door. I'm getting too much crosswind. Alright, it's blowing my flame around. See if we can make a marble out of this. Clark's Cove, hey. Say, I apologize if I miss anybody. All I've got's my phone out here, and it is small. Trying to read comments, so. We're getting there. Said before, this is kind of a slow process sometimes, especially when you go to making a marble. You gotta try and get it round, so. Try not to make wobbly marbles. Well, I'd say this is more in the 5/8 range, probably about the size of a player marble. but that's okay. Small marbles are okay too. I've got it on a real steep angle trying to get it to flow towards the middle. I think I'm just about there. Okay. She's hot. It'll start cooling off. You'll be able to see a little more and a little more. Well, he's probably 5/8 of an inch. He's a little guy, but that's all right. It'll glow like crazy with that UV on top of the white. Yep, Shannon, you're right. I don't know who you're telling, but yep, got all sorts of colors and rods and different things. But yep, it's all glass. Even the colored stuff is glass. So I'm gonna break this off here and see how our punny end looks. If I have to pick it back up or not. But I want to get a little bit of heat back in the marble because I don't want it to crack. So we're going to knock it off of this. I'm going to take this graphite mold and I'm going to set this in. I'm going to get a little bit of heat in the mold to help hold heat in the marble while I'm doing the final inspection. So get that nice and warm. Come over here and knock this off just like that. Actually, the punny mark doesn't look too bad, so we're going to do get rid of our punny mark, hopefully. Get that in there. Add a little more oxygen. It'll have a real nice little twisted top on it there. Quite melted in yet. Let me turn this a little. Turn it a little more. Okay. So when you break those off, it leaves a little divot or what I call a punny mark because it just depends how hard the glass sticks together. So I'm trying to melt all that away. Not sure how good this one's going to do, but we're trying. It's actually not too bad. Okay. So there's the finished off marble. I'm going to put it in the kiln, which is sitting at about 1,000 degrees. Oops. That little box right there, sitting at about 1,000 degrees. We'll leave that in there and turn it off when I leave in about 5 or 6 hours. It'll be cooled off. See if I can look at a comment or two while I'm between here. Thank you, Connie. You like the colors on that one? Thank you, Clark. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and make a pendant in the same colors, kind of a so I'm going to go right back to this white rod. That's what I was using for my base. It looks kind of transparent, but the heat actually, if you notice on the very end, the heat actually causes it to turn white. So I'm going to do a pendant, kind of same colors. Yeah, so it'll be these three again. The UV glass, just kind of transparent looking. The dark green, it's called forest green. And then the kind of chartreuse. Oh man, what's the name of that one? Ooh, it's been too long since I've ordered it. Anyway, you guys get the idea. So we're going to clean this white rod off. Give us a starting point for our next piece. And I've got mosquito hawks in here going for the flame, so you may see a few of those fry. As long as they don't fry to the glass I'm working on, that's all I care. Alright, got our base glass ready, nice and warm. I'll start with the dark green. This is going to look kind of like a repeat, but I'm going to make a pendant out of it. So I may get a hold of some of the big glass here in a minute. And we finish this up, we might make a big marble. So, or a bigger marble. I don't know how big, because like I say, I'm having trouble with my finger, and the bigger it is, the heavier it is, the longer you got to work it. So it's kind of, I have to pick my poison sometimes. So, all right, here goes our first stripe of color. Just like that. Take this paddle right here and we'll push our end in like that. Grab our next color. Now it's going to drive me crazy. I can't remember the name of this color, but it's been a couple of years since I ordered any, so it actually gets brighter than that after it's cooled down, put on a piece and cooled back down. So, all right, here we go. All right, second color on. Push our end in. There's where we're at so far. Doesn't look like much. Let's get our UV glass out here. Put a nice healthy couple of stripes of that on there. There's one. There's two. So here's our current state. 4 lines drawn on there. I'm going to melt this in some. Now we're going to twist it, and we're going to do about 2/3 of the rounding on this one. It'll be kind of a marble shaped pendant on the end, but it'll have a loop top on it, so you can hang it on your rear view, hang it in a window, hang it around your neck, whatever you want to do with it. So I don't know, I thought I might start with some kind of smaller, quicker pieces tonight, so you don't get bored to death, hopefully. A lot of this doesn't happen very fast. Okay. See if I can see some of the comments. Back-breaking metal detect me. Hey, buddy. Who else did I miss came in? Anybody? Torchy? Hey, how are you? Making some glass here tonight, or melting some glass. Making some things out of glass, I guess I should say. We're in the process of melting these colors into this main rod a little bit before we start twisting. And I kind of ran the idea, hey Randy, how you doing, buddy? I kind of ran the idea past whoever was in my last live stream that if I can get a little bit of stock built up here of stuff I'm making, I was thinking about doing some live auctions on my channel. So I'll try and advertise that a little bit before it happens. Make a video of the auction items maybe. Something else cool that happened. We ended up rescuing a little bitty baby bunny. Ended up rescuing a little bitty baby bunny, and I made a few shorts of it. The very first short I put on, I think it was the first one, it got over 6,000 views in 24 hours. So that's my highest viewed short thus far. But what else happened during that is I surpassed 500 subs. So that was kind of cool. So I need to be thinking about a giveaway contest or whatever for 500 subs. I'm thinking I'll probably give away some glass prizes if everybody's cool with that. Whenever I get around to getting it done. We're still melting the colors in thus far. Have not twisted anything yet. Well, Torchy, we can see. I don't know what it would cost to get something to Canada, but we'll check into it. Maybe we can figure it out and get some of my glass in your hand if you'd like. NorCal Digger. Hey, buddy. So we're just about ready to do some twisting here. Get this design going, make it look better. You can see how flippy floppy this gets when it gets good and hot, but that's when the colors start melting down. So I've got to kind of utilize the heat. All right, I think we're ready to start. doing some twisting here. So find my rod that I need. Clean the end off. So we will hook on here, like so. Once again, we're hooked on, and we are going to start putting a little twist in this thing. Torchy. I started collecting vintage marbles, antique vintage marbles. I don't know, probably 12, 13 years ago now. And done that for a while. Started going to some marble shows. And I seen people that were glass artists that were making marbles and things. So naturally, I kind of fell in love with it, or I fell in love with the idea. I found some people close to me, and luckily they were really friendly and became good friends with them. And they let me come to their place. Whoops, my handle just came off. They let me come to their place and use their torches and their glass and their knowledge, basically. I don't like where I got that handle. They let me use pretty much everything they had. And I told them immediately, "Oh man, I want to do this." And they said, I said, why don't you try it a while on my stuff before you invest a bunch of money, because the stuff, it's a little pricey on certain aspects of this, doing this. So I did that for a couple of years. And then I pulled the trigger and bought my first, it was about $100 torch. I've still got it actually right back there behind the camera. I'll probably hold on to it, I can still actually use it. And so I got myself started and started selling things, and I ended up upgrading to this torch you see here. This is about a $1,400 torch here. Uh, it's got a little more firepower than my $100 one. Uh, so I upgraded that, and I don't know, just kind of fell in love with the idea of making glass. So there's first two twists. I'm going to twist this very, very front end here, and then we'll terminate our end. Yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. I started out collecting old marbles, and then I figured out people done this and kind of fell in love with this idea, and I've been out for a couple of years because my dad passed away, but so I'm just now getting back into it, kind of getting my feeling back for everything, and stuff like that. But anyway, here's all of our twists and turns now. Instead of the straight lines, looks a whole lot better. So I'm going to clean that little blobby end off and terminate the end on it. And then I'm going to round it partially. Then I'm going to create a loop where it can be put on a necklace or a string or whatever. So, Tracy, hey, how are you? Hey, thank you. Yeah, I lost my dad. He was a pillar in my life for sure. So that hit me pretty hard. I I hauled him to out of state to cancer treatments for over 2 years, and he ended up getting COVID, and it knocked him off of his treatments that had started working. So kind of a bad deal. But long story short, uh, I sold my place and I moved back home to. I put me a house here on the home place. It's been in my dad's family since the early 40s. My dad and my granny were both completely raised here. I lived here from 11 to 23, got married, was gone for, oh, 20 years anyway, and or more. And then whenever my dad got bad, then I, kind of had to start moving back this way so I could take care of the place, take care of my mom. So that's where we're at now. So I'm sure I'm missing comments. I apologize. Uh, yeah, he was actually. I forget to see who. Torchy. Yeah, Torchy. He was actually pretty interested in this glass stuff. He was always anxious to see it and things like that. So I'm just working at it, trying to get everything going again. And oh, you miss your mom, Tracy? Was that you? Yeah, Tracy. Sorry about your mom. Yep, I've still got questions I needed to ask him. So at any rate, we're starting around the end of this. Like I say, I'm going to round about 2/3 of it, and it's going to look like a marble. But then that kind of Hershey kiss end that I pull on the end of it, we're going to cut that off long and actually make a loop out of it that can go on a necklace. So, so we're just rounding this thing up right now on one end anyway. Kind of like watching paint dry, isn't it? Connie Barnes got the magnet fish. Oh yeah, Connie, we did have a blast. Your dad, he's something else. Me and him talked for quite some time on that bridge that day. Really cool guy. Had a lot of fun with you guys and Beard and Bucky, and had a pretty good day. We need to do it again. See somebody saying Ron. Is that going to be Ron E? I missed you. If I did, I'm sorry. Hello, Ron. Luke. I mean, AAP's in here too. Sorry, guys. I've just got my phone, so I can only see like two or three comments at a time, and I'm staring at this most of the time, so I really miss a lot. Plus, I get a little bit blind trying to look at this glowing glass and look at the screen. Yeah, there's Ronnie and AAP. How y'all doing? Rock Butcher, how are you? Got a nice little group in here. I appreciate y'all. I'll switch sides over here a little bit. We're getting close here to what I'm trying to accomplish. And I'll show you the loop building process. The way I do it anyway. I'm sure there's other ways and other ideas, but some things I have to add glass to, but this thing I'll use the existing glass. Just make the loop right on the piece. So it's the best way I've found to do some of this. Just about there. Okay, so I'm going to let this cool just a second here so I can get it centered where it's cool enough to hold itself up. And we'll look at the piece. Show you the little end first. Got a little bit off center this time, but it's going on a pendant, so it'll be okay. So now we're ready to hook back on this front end up here. And we're going to pull the back end down kind of small to make our loop out of. My phone doesn't like to focus on that hot glass. All right. Let's hook onto this thing, see if we can make a loop. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Connie. Okay. Okay, so we're hooked back on there again. I want to heat that back side up and pull off kind of a long tag to make a loop out of. If you do this slow and kind of controlled, and twist that right on up. And the twist will actually carry through to the loop. Just kind of a neat effect. Okay. So I'm going to cut this off. I know that looks crazy, but that's actually going to be our loop on the top of this. I might even get rid of a little bit of it. I've got plenty there, I think. Get rid of that. Actually melting this just a little bit, it'll kind of condense it and make it a little thicker. So I'm trying to center it with gravity once again as it gets hot. Okay. So there's a little stem for our pendant now. So I need to find where I want the front to be, which I think is going to be right there. So I'm going to start bending this over. I'll heat it in different places and make it move the way I want to. See? I want this to go forward a little bit, so I'm going to heat it at the base. This is a titanium rod here, so it withstands the heat very well. Okay. We're going to bring our hook on around. We're going to melt it in just a little bit. Okay, so this looks crude right now, but I can actually work that down and melt it in now. And it'll look better, hopefully, when I get done, so. Shaping it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to take my little bitty hand torch here and I'm going to melt that little, if I can get it, melt that little tab in right there where the end was. Well, if I can get my torch to light. So I'm actually going to sit right here. Maybe I'll get it where you guys can kind of see. Carefully melt that so it fuses it into one nice little piece to make it stronger. You can see now it's kind of fused together there nice and smooth where the ends came together. Now I'll work on the loop a little bit more. Cause it to draw up a little bit, make it thicker. Wherever you put the heat, the glass kind of draws to that. See how much thicker that loop is now? Just running it in certain parts of the flame. See now the loop looks a lot better. So I'll work on the shape of that just a little bit. Do you ever? Yeah. Let's see, who is it? Larry Downing. Sorry if I haven't seen your name before. Yeah, see the loop actually has some of the twisted glass on it. I pulled it right off of the bulk there. I better get some heat back in this so it doesn't crack. But this little piece is almost done. Get it warmed back up though. See if I can show Larry it. Larry, my camera. Let me take this off. See if that helps. Yeah, it's hard to see. But yeah, there's a little bit of the color up in the glass. So I'm going to open this loop up just a little bit to make a necklace end be able to pass through, hopefully. Okay, probably going to quit there. That should be big enough for a necklace end to pass through. Get a little bit of heat back in it, knock it off of our punny rod, put it in the kiln. Yep. So we're going to call that little piece done. Drop it in the mold here, warm it back up. Just for a transfer tool. Okay. Melt in the little punny spot. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm actually going to have to do this different, I think. It's not liking sitting in the mold. All right, bear with me here. We're going to have to do this a little different. I'll do this with the tweezers because it's not sitting still in the mold good enough. There's a nice little twisty end on it, so get it warm. And we're going to melt this punny mark off. Make it nice and smooth where we were hooked on. Okay, she's ready to go in the kiln. So I am going to drop it in here to dump it into the kiln though. So get a little bit of heat back in it. Just like that. In the kiln it goes. Zed's place. What does this say? $1 million. What did I miss? What are you doing? Pressing one of your ant hill pours, Zed? I'll probably mess up your name. I'm going to call you Mr. Is it Gomez? Whoops. Mr. Gomez. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. It's really small, so I appreciate you being here. Tracy Jones, make sure I see if I see anybody I miss. Rad Dad Moody, how are you? Yeah, watching the flame can do that to you. Well, let's see here. Trying to think. We're going to get a little bit bigger piece of glass here. We're going to attempt a bigger marble, see how my hand is. I want to clean this off with some rubbing alcohol. Get any dirt and debris and stuff off, hopefully, because we don't want it on our marble. And I've got a raw end there where I broke this when I cut it. So I'm going to clean that end off to start everything out. We'll slowly heat this end of it up. Sure, I'm missing stuff I would like to. My artists like this to give away on my channel. Johnny's Corner. Hey, buddy. How's Johnny doing tonight? You know what? Why don't we make a vortex? Maybe I can make kind of a smaller vortex and not take too terribly long. But if you can get bored, you can always sign out and come back and watch it at a faster speed than real time. But I do appreciate everybody that's here or been here or that's still here. But I've got some cool cane here that a friend of mine makes in his shop. He actually makes cane. So he sells this. I mean, I make cane myself, but it's not as complex as that. But I think I'll make a small vortex and put some of his cane in it, and we'll see how that turns out. So, all right, let's get all this gobbledygook off of the end of this. Get us some nice clean glass to start out with. So now our end looks like that. We may turn up the heat here. And we're going to round us up a gather on this. This will speed up the process some. I don't want to bore you to death. When you kick on that second stage on this torch, you can melt some glass. Of course, the color glass won't handle a lot of this excessive heat. It actually boils it because of the ingredients in the glass. Okay, I want to turn this back down if I can find the button. And see what we got started there. I'm going to make the gather a little bit bigger though. But I want to get this smaller flame going a little hotter. Have better control over the gather like this. Once I get it started though, it'll move faster. Love the pendant torchy. Missed that Maddie's nifty creation. So I got Johnny and Maddie in here. That's cool. How are you all doing? All right. I think I'm going to stop my gather right there. I will actually let this cool some. And then I'm going to form a cone on the end of it, which will give it the vortex effect. I'm just trying to center that and let it cool. I'm going to heat the front end of it and make a cone on the end. All right. Okay, so I've got this front end of it heated back up. I'm going to make a cone real quick on my graphite mold, just like magic. Now I have this cone on the end of my rod. Hard to see. There you go. So we're going to build a vortex out of this. I'm going to put some cane pieces on here. Flame polish that a little bit where it's nice and smooth. Actually, it's not quite sharp enough. Okay. Okay. So there's the base for our vortex. Tone the flame down a little bit. So I've got this rainbow. Man, I wish that camera would focus better on that stuff. I've got this rainbow colored cane. We're going to put a few stripes of that on there. I have to clean this end up just a little bit. If I can find my cleaning rod. Okay. All right. We're going to attempt to paint some of this on our vortex cone. I can get this end to lay down here a little bit. This cane's a little bit big for what I'm trying to do, but I've already started with it, so that's what we're going with. Put another stripe of it on there. Stripe number 2. Stripe number 3. The only problem with these vortex marbles is once you start them, they just build and they grow bigger and bigger and bigger because you're constantly adding glass. All right. So now we've got 4 pieces of the rainbow cane on there. We should probably add some UV. It always makes a nice addition to anything, except that piece is hot from me having the other piece of glass on it. Ouch. Well, I'm gonna throw it all on the floor. Well, I lost one of the pieces of UV. Here we go. I'll do this instead. I'll put some of my UV cane in there. After I burnt my fingers a little bit, that's always fun. One more. Yeah, baby, she's hot. All right. So we got all our cane on here. Looks kind of goopy right now, but we're going to melt that all in. And then we're going to twist it. Start out here in the outer flame. Get some heat slowly built into it. Press it in a little bit with our mold. So this part will actually stay coned inside the marble. We will build up the back side of this to give it enough glass to be round. That's how you get the deep effect of a vortex. Starting to get warm in here. I'm sweating a little bit. Don't really like that. So we're starting to melt those canes into the marble. Once they get about 80% melted in, then I'm going to hook onto the end of this and I'm going to twist them just a little bit. Give it a spiral effect inside the marble. I still think this would be better if I could get it figured out on my GoPro so you guys can look straight down and see what I'm seeing. But I'll have to get that figured out, so bear with me. Maybe I can look at a comment or two. Oh, you got you some morels, Luke? Is that what you're talking about? Sorry, the comment went by pretty fast. Treasure Coast is here, maybe? And Joshua Maxwell. Yep, there's Ronnie. I missed him when he first came in. Hope everybody's doing well. I'll give you another view of it here. So it doesn't look like much, but this side, this front, this will be the front. So that's what you'll be looking down into that, but you can't until you can look straight on. It doesn't look so whoopy. So stand by. We're getting close to doing some twist on it. Just about melted in. You guys can kind of see in the top of the marble there, the stuff kind of moving. That's where we'll be looking once the marble's completed. It's through that side closest to my hands. The cone side will be the back of the marble. It's actually naturally twisted a little bit on its own, just from the gravity and me trying to keep the cone shape on the graphite. It actually starts pulling a little twist in it, so I'm going to lightly hook on there just like so. I'm going to try and heat up the cone only. I'm going to put a little bit more twist in it. Yep, the bugs are about to carry me off. A little bit more twist. Come on, warm up. I need it to warm up out on the outer parts of that cone. There we go. Now we're moving in the right direction. I'm also going to stretch this cone out a little bit to make the vortex look deeper. Didn't mean for that to happen just yet. Okay. I don't know, I think I'd still like to twist that some more. I'm not quite getting the twist on it that I'm wanting. Clean this back off. Melt this tip back in. Am I boring everybody to death yet? Yeah, I need to get a bug zapper. For sure. It's the mosquito hawks, and they let me take this lens off. See how yellow that flame is without that lens on there? It drives the bugs crazy. So, you know what? That might be enough twist in that. What do you guys think? I think let's melt this in just a little bit more. And then we're going to back this thing. Connie Barnes says she likes it. Maddie says beautiful. Engine Rick, beautiful. Sounds good to me. We're going to go with it. We're going to melt that in just a little bit more. I'm going to try and not trap any air bubbles whenever I put the backing on this. Doing the backing is kind of a all or nothing deal, and once you get started, you've got to go with it no matter what happens. So we're just about ready to back it. Try to look at a comment or two. Okay. So you can see they're pretty smooth on there now. Kind of see to the inside there, you can see the canes a little bit. Hard to see whenever everything's hot. So we're going to take this heavy blue stardust. You guys probably can't see it, but it's got some sparkle in it. But that's what we're going to back this with. It gives you kind of a nice sparkle. You can see some of it actually through the lens whenever everything's said and done. So that's what we're going to back it with. Keep the marble nice and warm. We don't want it to crack after all the work we've put into it thus far. So I'm kind of keeping it in the back part of the flame. All right. So I'm going to turn this flame up a little bit more. Get a little more heat going. Because this blue is actually, this cobalt is actually really stiff. And if it doesn't move, if you don't get it hot enough, it doesn't move right. So here I go. I'm covering the back of the marble. I'm twisting this rod as I'm putting it on, and I'm adding it in a spiral to hopefully keep from trapping any air bubbles. That's the hope anyway. Some things I want air bubbles in and some things I don't. This particular one I don't. All right. So now the back of our marble looks like this. So that'll give us a nice background whenever everything cools, a nice sparkly background. I may have to add just a little bit more. Uh-oh, I missed something funny. I saw cobalt, it's mine. Don't say cobalt, Johnny will claim it. Well, I guess I know now. I guess this is Johnny's marble I'm making here, it sounds like. So, all right, we're gonna melt this blue stardust in a little bit. Bear with me here, guys. This stuff takes a lot of heat to make moves, so I'll have to get this thing really nice and toasty. I don't know if I'm going to add any more or not. It may be okay. Starting to lay down. And I've got some tools right in my way. Here's one of my big marble molds. Graphite, glass doesn't stick to it, has different size pockets. The mold just helps get the shape. I mean, really, the gravity and the heat does the final rounding. So, yeah, Luke, there's different sizes. I've got this little handheld one here that's got little tiny, you know, there's all shapes and sizes of them. So, and I'm going to try and let this round as much as it will by itself. And I may touch it just a little bit here just to kind of get it going, but it's starting to move though. So we're moving in the right direction. This is a little bigger project than the small marbles or the small pendant, so hopefully everybody's not bored to death. See somebody laughing, so maybe somebody's keeping everybody entertained. You can kind of see the starting to take a rounder shape. Okay, there you go. I laid it in the mold and spun it. Now we're a whole lot more round. It's just a matter of getting that stuff molten enough to move. So now I'm going to get the back of this around where we can cut it off of this main rod and get the lens side where we can see what's going on. Really not trying to ignore you guys. I just got to watch what I'm doing here. Get to be kind of crucial moments in this stuff. And yep, there's one of my bug friends. Okay, we're looking pretty round on that end. Little peek inside, you can see how hot it is. Probably about 1600 degrees right there. This is hard glass, like your Pyrex or something, is the type of glass this is. I don't know if you guys can see the sparkle on that or not. It may still be too hot. There's another little peek inside. You really can't see anything though. You'll see stuff moving around in there, but anyway, you can see that reflection. It's looking like a marquee. This will probably be somewhere in the 1.25 inch range, I would have to guess. So we're going to get our punny rod fixed up here and ready to take hold. Just a nice clean end on here. Okay, just like that, we're hooked on. Now we're going to cut this baby off of the main rod. This goes to being where it gets a little more dangerous with dropping it, because you take it off of the main times. Zed, did you have a good last pour? You end up with a big one? All right, we're starting to separate here. Okay. We're off the main rod now. And I think we're going to need most of this Hershey Kiss we got left. I think we're going to need to melt that down into the lens. So there you can start to see inside the vortex. But we got to melt down this Hershey Kiss top on the end of it here. So that'll be another few minutes. Bear with me. Yeah, most of the time the spray cans, they have what's called industrial marbles in them. I mean, they may have a little bit of tint to them. They usually don't have a design or anything on them though, but But yep, there's marbles in the spray cans, the paint cans and stuff. So our Hershey Kiss is melting down now. We're going to keep the heat on it and keep that going. There was another one of my bug buddies. So I've got this tilted down. We're getting close. Just got to get enough heat in it to drop that, make that last part drop. So this one with the UV glass in it, well, all the pieces we made tonight have some UV glass in them, so under black light it'll glow. I'll make a little video hopefully tomorrow when I take them out of the kiln. Give you guys a peek at them. Okay, I'm going to hit this thing in the mold just real quick. We're just about there. Really. Just got a little bit where that seam of that blue comes together with the clear that I need to get hot. Get it to lay down right. Sorry, I can't give you a look right this moment. If I take it out, I'll lose the heat that I need to finish rounding here. This back up just a little bit. We're really close here though. I think I'll be able to give you a peek this time. We are really close to having it here. All right. So it's not going to show up yet because she's still smoking red hot. But we'll try and let it cool off. Nightmare, how are you? We're making a big marble. Probably about an inch and a quarter range, if I had to guess. You kind of see down in that? That's a vortex. You lay that thing, so what you do, you set this in the palm of your hand, and you look down, and it has the visual effect of it going deeper than your hand is. So it's kind of a weird effect, but blue sparkle back on it. Oh man, the colors. Let me take this off. Yeah, the colors aren't going to show through right now. But you can see down in there, it's like a whirlpool effect. Goes down deep. Angie and Rick, yeah. Yep. Tomorrow when I pull them out of the kiln, uh, I'll do a I'll do a little short, quick video when I'll get the black light out, show you the UV effect and everything. But really, I think, other than the punny mark, I think we're pretty much done with this thing. Just can't really tell how deep it is like that, but it has the effect that it's kind of a deep hole. So Tracy Jones here. Oh, what'd Larry say? I missed something. Look away, it won't be a match. There you go. Yeah. I need to do a giveaway. Like I said, I just surpassed 500 subs, so I'll probably give away a piece of glass or two during that. All right, one more little look, and then we're gonna take it off the punny, get it in the mold, and get rid of the mold mark. Hopefully, wish I could get it to focus in there better, but it's not going to. So we're gonna take our little graphite mold here and heat it up. Keep our marble warm. It should look better tomorrow when you can see the colors and stuff. So, all right, I'm gonna knock it off the penny rod here. So like that. Get it back here in the flame so we don't crack it. Turn the camera low. See if I can turn the camera. Sorry for the earthquake. Maybe you can see a little bit of that, but I've got to smooth out the place where it was hooked on. Get my flame set up here. Getting rid of the penny mark so it's hopefully nice and smooth on the back. Don't like to leave any evidence of where we were hooked on if I can help it at all. Really close. A little bit more. Okay, we're good. Well, if I can get it in the camera here. So there's the back where we were hooked on. Hopefully you can't even tell where I was hooked on it. There's a little bit of the inside again. I will get this put in the kiln. We will probably call it a night. Here it goes. Into the kiln for bed. This out here hopefully don't make you all sick. Appreciate you all hanging with me. Ooh, a little warm out here. Really appreciate all the kind words, and we'll get a little video out tomorrow when it comes out of the kiln and giving us a better look at it. So everybody have a good night. These two, hey buddy, how are you? Was you in here earlier? I probably missed you. I gained 7 subs, Connie says. Well, I appreciate every one of them. So we'll get around and do a giveaway here in the near future, and who knows what else we'll get into. We got baby bunnies and we got all sorts of different things going on the channel, but everybody take care. Appreciate you.